I picked up these hands, skeletal hands from Dollar Tree. So what I got to do is cut it right at the first knuckle there. Be very careful when you're using this knife. The plastic is pretty thin, so it comes off pretty good. Once you cut out that knuckle, the finger will bend right up. Just take some hot glue, put it in there, hold it in place for about 10 seconds, and it'll stay right there. I did this with every finger on 4 sets of hands. Some I pulled up higher than the others. I wanted some randomness. It looks good that way. Next, what I did was I grabbed one of these fairy lights from Dollar Tree. But what I need is the battery pack and the lights themselves, not the other items. So first thing I'm going to do is pull that clip out, and I'm going to get rid of that. Then what I need to do is unscrew the light bulb, pull the fairy light out. This little battery pack just pops right out with your thumb. And all I need to do is get rid of that base there. And this is the light I need. This candle I also got from Dollar Tree. And I want to put the fairy lights inside. When they're glowing, you will see the lights through the plastic. This plastic is easy to cut. I just need a little bit of a square. Again, be careful. Go ahead and cut that square out on all 4 sides. It's easy to do as long as you've got a sharp knife. Then what you got to do is just go ahead and put the fairy lights inside. Just a little dab of hot glue on the side will be perfect. That will hold the battery pack in place. This, when we mount it with the battery pack, will go on the back end and you'll barely even see it. Now, just when I can't think I can get spooky enough, I grab a red crayon and a little lighter and let that drip all along the candle. I think you know what look I'm going for on this. And look at that. It even comes with some blood clots on there. These are the 4 candles I'm going to use. Only 1 crayon was used to make all this. Now with the board, for this project I wanted to use some old pallet wood. It has an old antique look to it and it's perfect for this Halloween project. I didn't want the nail holes to be lined up next to each other, so I offset them a little bit. Then I took some other scrap wood, put some glue on the back. I'm going to use some brad nails to put that together. This glue holds really good. Once I get the brad nails in, it's going to hold these boards together, and then I'll cut off the ends just to make them square. Next, it's time to paint it. I'm going to use a little bit of black paint. Now, I don't want this to be solid. I can just go random on it all over and anywhere, but I want to make sure I do get the sides. Then I'm going to add just a tiny bit of gray, and look at that. It's going to give it kind of an old antique look. I need to put some nails and screws through there. Those are going to hold the hands on. I'm going to drill 4 holes to pre-drill and allow the screws to go through. Now, before you freak out a little bit, these boards are sitting up off the table. I'm not putting holes in my table, so don't worry about that. Once I get these holes drilled, what I want to do is take the screws on the back end. Go ahead and tighten them by hand. Use a screwdriver, or you can use a cordless drill and put them in. Once the screw's sticking out, there's a little hole in the back of the hand. Just place that on the screw and start twisting. The threads of the screw will eventually pull down on the hand. Just keep going around in a circle, and once you get to the base of the wood, it's going to stop. You want to make sure all the hands are facing the same way. Go ahead and grab some of that hot glue again, put it right on top. That's going to make it secure. Last but not least, let's put a little Velcro on the bottom of that candle. One side on the candle, one side on the palm. That way we can remove the candle and change the batteries if they run out of power. We're going to go ahead and put these all on here. And I couldn't help myself, but I had a few fairy lights still left over. You'll see them lit up on the back. I also grabbed this little drape from Dollar Tree. It looks like a little spider web. Had to put it on top and get it draped on there. Back to the candles. What we want to do is get them on there and get them lit. Once the lights go low, look at that. It just glows in the dark. There's our skeleton hands holding up the candles with a little bit of blood dripping from them.
You can do this project right in an urn, but I want to use this urn for other holidays, maybe Christmas. So I found a container that would fit right down inside. This flower pot doesn't have a hole in the bottom, which is great for this project. The instructions on the plaster of Paris call for 2 parts plaster of Paris to 1 part of cold water. When I have my plaster of Paris completely stirred so that there are no dry clumps left, I can go ahead and stick into it my piece of PVC. And just like that, not even an hour, about 15 minutes, it is ready to go. Oh, I got out my skulls. I got a collection of skulls from the Dollar Tree. So they were just $1 each. And I'm just going to give these a coat of this chalky paint and give it a little bit more, I don't know, I haven't worked around skulls, but maybe a more realistic look. I am going to go to work painting my skulls. So you can see I have all of my skulls finished here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take each one and cut an X. One in the top of the head. This one is right here. The top of the skull can be really hard. And then one down here. But I'm going to cut them in a different location. See how this one is out on this flat part? This one here I cut back a little bit. And that will make them sit in at a different angle on the PVC. All right, I have my urn and I have my PVC post in the plaster of Paris. And I'm gonna set this right down inside. And I'm just this is gonna wobble around a little bit. So I'm just going to stick a couple pieces of styrofoam in there so it does not wobble at all. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take them and push these in just a little bit and slide them right down over and all the way down. And I cut these in different spots so that they will be at different angles. So this one's going to be looking up, whereas this one's looking straight ahead. And we're just going to feed our skulls right onto that PVC post. Just like that. And when we only have enough room for one skull left, this skull I have only cut a hole in the bottom, not in the top. This is going to go right over it and get secured right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit of hot glue right there to secure these together. Now that we have all of our skulls on our piece of PVC, I'm just going to add Spanish moss to give it that real creepy feel. And I talked about how this top skull, I'm going to put a little hot glue there and hold that in. And I can use a little hot glue on the PVC. And you know what? I usually try and get rid of all of these threads, but you know, I'm going to kind of leave them because they kind of look like spider webs. So I'm just holding this down so that that will stick. And that top skull won't come off, and then none of our skulls will come off. So all we're going to do is take our Spanish moss and we're going to wrap it around and tuck it in to give that real creepy feeling. Now I'm not going to add lights to mine, but you can always add lights to yours too. Some battery operated lights, or if you have this on your front porch, you can always put plug-in lights. Or maybe some of those flashing with the strobe lights. And when I picked up the Dollar Tree skulls, I picked up these are supposed to be salad tongs that are like skeletons. But again, I gave them the same paint treatment that I gave my skulls. And now right in by that styrofoam, I'm going to stick some hands coming out. So they're going, help, let me out. And now our decoration is all ready to put on the front porch. So let's take it out to the porch so you can see it. And here is our skull topiary. See how easy that was? You can make this for your front porch to greet the trick-or-treaters. Oh, if you're going to have this out in the weather, make sure that you paint those skulls with a spray polyurethane so that the paint doesn't wash off, okay? Happy Halloween. I look forward to seeing you next time on Home Talk.